everybody, Gastro Mojo here. Welcome back to the channel. We got a real good one here today. Going to be doing it for the first time. We got cheese souffle. I'm really excited to do this. I've always wanted to make souffle. So let's get through the ingredients and then we'll get started. I've got 3 tablespoons of butter. That's going to be in our bechamel sauce. And then I've got some softened butter here. We're going to use that to line the insides of our ramekins. And some Parmesan here, grated. We're going to use that also for the inside of our ramekins. I got 3.5 tablespoons of flour, 1 cup of whole milk, about a half teaspoon each salt and pepper. These 2 items are optional. Dijon mustard and hot sauce. I don't have any Dijon, so I'm using basically a brown horseradish mustard, kind of the same idea. And then you can either use cayenne pepper or some kind of hot sauce today in an homage to my hero. We're going to use some Hell's Kitchen Habanero whiskey hot sauce. You're going to need 5 egg whites and 4 egg yolks, about a half teaspoon of cream of tartar. Again, you don't need that. It just helps from over beating the egg white. So we're going to go ahead and use that. And then we're going to have 3 ounces of Gruyere cheese. If you don't have Gruyere, any kind of firm tangy cheese will work. Technically, you could use sharp cheddar to kind of change the flavor profile of the souffle. Now, I have been asked and I've heard there's lots of ways they want to know how to do it, separating the egg whites from the yolks. Do I need to go and buy a separator if I saw on TV and that sort of thing, or my mom used to do it this way, whatever? I'm going to go ahead and show you the way I learned to do it, and I find it's the easiest way. There are a couple of different ways without equipment that you can do it. I'm sure people have heard you pour it back and forth in between the shell. I don't like that, only because you might get a piece of shell fall into one of your bowls and then you're digging out shell. So I'm going to show you the way I do it, and then we're going to get this thing started. All right, well, first thing what we want to do is get our oven preset. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. For a browner top on your souffle, but a moisture, more liquidy inside, you want to raise the temperature. Well, we're not going to do that. That would be like 400. What we're going to do is we want a firmer souffle. So we're going to go 375. All right, got that started. Now let's do our eggs. Now this is how I do it. Like I said, there's multiple ways you can do this. What I do, I crack the yolk into my hand, and then I just wiggle my hand back and forth, go back and forth like this, kind of just barely leave your fingers, just open enough. There goes the white all the way through, yolk is still whole, yolk goes in the bowl. Now, it is possible to break a yolk just like that. If you do that, you can get a little bit in there, not a big deal. Well, in this case, this yolk broke pretty hard, so what I'm gonna do is get rid of this yolk and then get another egg and do it again, because you don't want too much yolk in the whites. So let's go do that. All right, so we're gonna try this again. There we go. Remember, we want 5 egg whites and 4 egg yolks. And you just kind of let the egg yolk slide and say, just leave like your index finger and your middle finger barely slightly open, and then you sometimes just kind of scissor them to help break that, and there you go, and the white falls right off. That was a good one. There's our 4 egg yolks. And our 5 egg whites. All right, so we've got our egg whites while we're doing all this other stuff sitting in the fridge. You want to keep them cold. Our oven's preheating. What we want to do now is butter our ramekins, and to do that, simply take a paper towel, wipe, get the bottoms real good, and once you got the bottoms, take them when you're finishing the edges, start from the bottom and pull up with your butter. And the reason you're doing that is you're kind of changing you're creating a natural, we'll call it a track for the souffle. As it rises, it naturally is going to follow that groove, or I guess you almost call it a grain of the butter as it's pulled up. And then, well, we'll do that here in a second. Let's get all these done. Okay, they're all buttered. Now what we want to do is take our grated Parmesan. I actually have cotija cheese. It's the almost exact same thing as Parmesan. So if you don't have Parmesan, if you have cotija, then number one, you're awesome. And number two, it'll be just as good. And then just kind of toss it around in there and then do it over your other bowl. That way you can just go straight to dusting the next bowl. Okay, and there's our ramekins. Now what we're going to do is put those in the fridge and we'll continue on. Okay, well, let's get the base of this, the bechamel sauce, started. What you want to do is on medium to medium-high heat. I use medium on this range because the gas burns pretty hot, so I don't want to overheat it. Put your 3 tablespoons of butter in. We're going to melt that down. Okay. Just a little bit. You want it to melt. You want it to cook the butter down. You don't want it to start turning brown, so just a good medium heat to melt that butter down. All right. Save this for a minute. Now what we're going to do is whisk in our 3.5 tablespoons of flour. Just get in really good, a little bit at a time. Don't overdo it. You don't want to clump it up. Make sure you're getting all around the edges so none of you might have little clumps they might try and escape. And once they start cooking as a clump, then you're never going to unclump it. It'll just be a lump. Be like a unflavorful dumpling. What you want to do now is do this for about a minute. Turn the heat down a little bit until all the flour flavor is gone. You can usually do that by smelling. It usually only takes about a minute. I think we're good. Now what we do is a little bit of milk at a time. Don't just dump it all in there. See, that's pretty hot. See, I have it on medium. So we'll go down to medium low. Slide over here. There we go. Just keep stirring it. You'll be all right. Perfect. That's what you do. Don't freak out because that looked pretty bad there for a second. So we'll get the rest of the milk in here. And we're gonna let that cook until it starts to thicken back up. Again, medium to I'm on just under medium heat. All right, and we'll come right back. All right, so we're starting to bubble, so I'm gonna turn my heat way down. Starting to thicken up, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my salt and pepper. That looks good. I think we're good. Make sure you get the sides, don't leave anything out. That's perfect. Let's go ahead and we'll take this and then we're going to transfer it Gonna turn off our heat. We're gonna transfer it to a bowl to allow it to cool off a little bit and stop cooking. Move on to the next step. Okay, now what we want to do is, if you're using, you don't have to, if you're using the mustard and the hot sauce, you want to go ahead and add that in now. And it's not a whole lot, maybe half a teaspoon. And then with the hot sauce, I don't particularly love super spicy stuff, but this habanero whiskey sauce is actually pretty good. So I'm gonna go like that. Let's mix that in. All right, now what we want to do, what I like to do, take this. It won't stick for very long, but it'll still thin it out a little bit. Thin out your bechamel sauce here a little bit. This will help allow it to cool off because we're about to put our eggs in, and you don't want to put your eggs in and have them turn into scrambled eggs right away. So if you want to speed up the process a little bit while you're cleaning a few utensils and putting a few things away, go ahead and do that, and that will help your bechamel sauce cool off way quicker. All right, it should have cooled off by now. It doesn't have to be ice cold, but just cool enough to where you can tell that the yolks are not gonna cook as soon as they touch the sauce. So scrape down the sides, get all that stuff back down in there. All right, and then what we wanna do is just one yolk at a time. Drop them in there. Whisk them up. Drop another yolk in there. Whisk it up. Drop another yolk in there. Our last yolk. All right, that's looking good. All right, let's go to our egg whites. Okay, so that base is done. All we've got left now is to fluff up the egg whites and mix it in with the sauce that we already made, the bechamel, and add the cheese and then bake it, and we're done. That's souffle. So let's get our egg whites mixed. Now you can either do this by hand, which if you are in really good shape, then you knock yourself out because stiff peaks by hand could take a while. So we're using the KitchenAid. Go ahead and add your egg yolks in. Once the egg yolks start getting started, I'll go ahead and put in my cream of tartar. Again, you don't have to use cream of tartar. It just helps from the eggs basically breaking and over beating them. But we're just gonna keep a good eye on them so that we shouldn't have any trouble with that anyway. All right, here we go. We'll be right back as soon as they're done. All right, as you can see, that's looking pretty fluffy down there. So let's go ahead and turn it off. And now, way to check is just lift the beater right out, and there you go. That's a stiff peak. That's perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and mix this in with our sauce. All right, well, we're ready to add the egg whites. That's how you can tell. Just want to do about 1.5 good little dollops here, and mix that into our sauce. Okay. And then what we want to do is add our Gruyere cheese. Mix Mix that in real good. And we'll go ahead and fold in the rest of our egg whites. There's a lot extra here. So it just depends on the size of your ramekins. All right, and then we're ready to pour this into our ramekins, and then we're ready to cook. All right, what we're gonna do now is fill our ramekins up almost to the top, but not completely. I'll put a little bit more in another one. Give this one a little more. This one a little more. Give this one a little more. All right. And wipe that off. Baking dish. All right, and in the oven they go. Make sure your rack's on the bottom rack. Now we're gonna watch these. You wanna do 10 minutes or more. We're gonna start at 10, depends on the size of your ramekin and the temperature you're cooking at. We're gonna start with 10 minutes. And then we can just check them thereafter. So let's come back in about 10 minutes to see how they're doing. Gastro Mojo pro tip number 87. While your stuff is cooking, don't sit around and play Candy Crush. Do yourself a favor and get that mess all cleaned up. See, you got everything all cleaned up. Kitchen looks nice, everything's clean. So that way when your wonderful souffle comes out of the oven, you can sit down in a nice, cool, clean kitchen and enjoy it. All right, our last 6 minutes are up. Let's see what they look like. Oh, all right. Definitely getting there. We're gonna probably take it 1 minute at a time now. Give it a couple more minutes and we'll check on it again. Okay, so the timing was a little off. We're a little over 20 minutes now. I think they're done, so we're gonna take them out. Definitely probably want to keep it at 375. Crank it up to 400. They really do get kind of brown. So I put the temperature back down to let the insides make sure they cook a little bit. And I think they've risen about as much as they're gonna rise. So we'll go ahead and take them out. And they don't look terrible. All right. Turn our oven off. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our taste tester to try them out. See how they taste.
This one?
Yeah. Is it done? Let's see if it's done. It looks done.
It's done. Get some of that edge.
That's good.
It's done inside, fluffy.
Let's get the chef's.
Eggy and cheesy.
Oh, don't you dare. Yeah, it is kind of hard to do. You can't. There we go. Probably wouldn't put the cheese on the sides. It'll help it rise easier. I think it kind of got stuck, so Mojo tip, don't use the cheese on the sides. Oh yeah. Flavor wise, it's good, folks.
Yeah.
And it's done in the middle. It's not runny, cheesy. Like I said, from the looks of it, I would not, you still need to butter the sides. I would not I wouldn't suggest dusting it with the cheese like you did, because that kind of holds it all in place. The cheese will toast on the side, and then it won't allow the egg to rise up. So, overall, a success. It tastes great. So, well, if you like this video, please, if you're not a subscriber, if you've happened to just come across this, please subscribe. If you are a subscriber, if you're one of my new subscribers in the past few weeks, thank you for coming by. Please make sure you like the video and share it on all your different social media platforms. Get my channel out there. The bigger my channel can get, the more videos I can do. Thanks for coming by. We'll see you next time.